All right, guys. So I'm gonna have to turn.
It's fine. Yeah, I'm just gonna do this live show real quick for everybody. I wish I was blind too. If I was blind and had the abilities that I had, I'd be rich.
I wish I was. It's funny. I think it's funny. All right. We gotta see which one works better.
Hey, bro. Sounds good, man. Yeah, I know. TikTok's a good fucking thing for, I don't know, when you're hurt, you know what I mean? You can make a couple bucks. I don't know, like you make a couple $100 a week. It's good for having.
I've never made money off of TikTok or any website yet, man. Nothing. Like I made money from people because they paid me to do something, but I've never actually made money from a website ever my whole life, bro. No, I don't make money from streaming, guys. You guys haven't realized that I have not made any money from streaming at all. That's why I've been sitting here frustrated because like I'm trying to do it, but nothing's coming out. So I wanted to show you this video. I was gonna watch it with you guys. I never watched this video either, so it's good for both of us. Hopefully this works out. I gotta try to figure out the sound problem because it's repeating sounds back and forth. So let's see what happens if I do this. Okay, let me get headphones on.
Hi, Tarek. Hi,
Hey.
Oh.
Hey, Emily. Hey,
Ready
Tarek.
to talk about sync?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Well, I'm Emily Roman. I work at Warner Records in the film and TV department.
I know.
My bad looks like
I'm Kristen
I don't
Hosak.
give a
I'm the
shit,
senior music supervisor at Saatchi & Saatchi,
Stuff that I,
overseeing
like,
the
live on
LA
the
and
floor,
Dallas
so you have to
offices.
have a bad joke.
And I'm Tarek Bradford. I run
It's
the
just
Homie
so
Music
sick.
Enterprises,
It's
a
like,
film and
like
TV
that.
sync licensing and publishing company based out of Los Angeles.
And we're going to answer 3 questions about sync that hopefully help anyone with some clarity on this kind of crazy little part of the industry. First question, what are the most important factors when placing a record for sync? What do you guys think?
There's different levels. It depends on the medium. Film is not the same as it is for advertisement. It's not the same for advertisement it is for film trailers. So it really depends. Some of the basic things that are important for sync are relatable topics. And that's kind of one thing that is broad across the board. So songs that are about life, loss, rising, overcoming struggle, dealing with the struggles of life, pain, just kind of your basic, life experiences are topic-wise the most important things that come up the most often for licensing of your music. And then in terms of the sound, it really just depends on the project. For example, for promos and a lot of times for commercials, they tend to be more upbeat and feel good because they're trying to sell you something. They're trying to get you to watch a television show or buy a product. So those aren't usually going to be down-tempo, depressing songs. They're usually going to be up-tempo, feel good songs that make you want to go out and either see the TV show or see the film or purchase Tide or whatever the product might be. And then for trailers, it depends on kind of the product as well. If it's an action movie, then you might hear, the big blaring drums, horns, stuff that makes it feel exciting and action based. And then, for a TV show, you might have a scene that wants something that's a little more down tempo that goes along with a scene where it's emotional and kind of adds to the characters and what's going on. So it really just depends on the scene and the project.
I think also basic quality of the production, originality, like you said, Tarek, the sound quality, themes, like you mentioned, just basic, specific messaging. And then also clearance, like understanding where all parties kind of lie for the song. And if it's a clearable song, are there samples? Is the supervisor able to reach out to every party for clearance? These are kind of my 5 indicators.
Yeah. I mean, I think also a song that doesn't sound like it's trying too hard to be a song for sync. I think a lot of times when sometimes I'll get pitched music from artists or labels that, you know, this would be a perfect song for X because it feels really expected based on whatever the brand is or like the concept. But I feel like sometimes we're not looking for the on the nose musical option. We're looking for something that's more organic and real, like something that sounds like a real song and not something that was written to spec. That's not to say that songs that are needed, like written to a spec and needing to be overtly like obvious aren't needs, because those definitely are. I think that the more frequent that one is in which a song sounds like authentically original.
And also budget, I think, is an important thing as well, to know what the budget is for a project and where a songwriter or a song fits within that budget. You know, a songwriter like Bono is going to have a completely different budget than your local indie artist. So knowing those things, and like Kristen mentioned, or like Emily mentioned, how many songwriters are on there, how many publishers are involved, how many labels are involved, how many clearances have to exist, does a supervisor or studio or network have to go through to clear the song, because that can affect, you know, the decision on moving forward with the song and also the budget as well.
Even for indie artists, if you're delivering a song, like I totally recommend putting all this information in metadata form to anyone that you're maybe sharing the song with, just so it's easily accessible. And hey, like there's 3 writers, but they're all independently published, or they have ASCAP or BMI accounts, and this is everything that you would need to kind of go clear the song.
I was going to say another thing that I look for specifically when looking for music is when I reach out, I want music that may never have been licensed before, or that hasn't had any past use in the last 5 years, or definitely hasn't had any current use in the last couple of years on a competitor, because it's definitely something that we'll look for when, again, we're looking for something with originality. I mean, when you look at those older songs that are more legacy, it's hard because they've been licensed so much. So I think that's one of the things that of value that new and emerging artists bring to the table, is that their sound is unique to them, and that's great. That's why we need it.
All right, I think we covered that question.
I think we got it.
So confident. Next question: what are some of the biggest misconceptions people have about the process of getting music placed for sync? What do you find yourself explaining over and over? I think we touched on some of these already. You know, I think making some of the same points very easily accessible clearance, or not being too on the nose with themes, making sure the sound quality is good. But I also think that sync is its own little world, and we can't guarantee anything. And that's something that, you know, I think it has to fit right with the show and what the actual project is, and if it meets all the requirements for the actual project.
I think there's also some just like the way in, like what are artists' way into the people who control the music narrative, right? Like music supervisors, music producers, showrunners, directors, you know, all of that. Like for a lot of music supervisors, whoever they work for, they can accept any submission of music from any artist. Like they can listen to anything that's sent to them that's like a cold email. For other people like me, I can't listen to anything unsolicited. So I can only listen to music that I ask labels and publishers for. So I think that when I get artists emails every day, like, oh, this song would be perfect for this, or I saw this commercial and it reminded me of this song that I wrote. Like, I love those emails, and like, I wish I could read them, but I can't. So my response always in those situations is, you know, if you're repped at all by like a sync agency, or if you have publisher representation or label representation, or your management company has a newsletter, like have them send me this information about you through their normal communication channels, and then I can review it, which is interesting. I know it's probably really frustrating for a lot of artists. So I really encourage, you know, people who are struggling with making connections with music supervisors to like figure out another way, and that's more like music house to music person. That makes sense.
There's so many amazing like indie companies out there and people to talk to.
Yeah.
And I'll add on to what Emily said, for me, the biggest misconception is that getting music placed in film, TV, or advertisements is easy, and that all it
Mm.
takes, even if you have a label, a publisher, or a rep, are just the want and desire to have your song in a film, TV show, or commercial. Or they people constantly think that their song is, I think Kristen already said in quotes, perfect for sync. I've yet to meet an artist who said, "Oh, my music doesn't work for sync." Like everybody thinks that their song is perfect for sync and that it should be in the biggest and brightest ads, TV shows that are out there. And not that it shouldn't, but that I think Emily made a good point of that it's its own world,
Mhm.
and that you are trying to add a song into a place that's already a very crowded market. And you have to understand that and really know that this is it's a more of a marathon building up a catalog as opposed to you record 10 songs and then you expect those 10 songs to all get synced. Or
Yeah.
I come from the major label world, and a lot of times even within the building, the biggest push was from the marketing teams or the A&R teams who thought, well, this is the single, you have to go get a placement for that. And the sync world doesn't care about that. The blessing and the curse of sync is you can have a hit record and nobody cares about it in sync, or you can be like an indie artist from Silver Lake or Brooklyn or Ohio, and you can have your song in a TV show or a commercial. It doesn't matter. Sometimes you will have situations where people specifically want a hit song and they'll call that out, but a large part of what people are looking for are just songs that fit, which is great. It opens it up for everybody, but the downside is it opens it up for everybody. So someone like Kristen or somebody at Warner Pictures or any studio or network or independent supervisor is getting hundreds and thousands of emails with music every day, and all of those are single songs, albums, playlists over and over and over. So any artist who wants their song placed for sync, they need to understand that it's not most likely going to be a situation where you have a song that's coming out in March, you start pitching it March 1st, and you get a placement in April or May or June. In 6 months, it may be 9 months, it may be a year. And you can't get frustrated with that, because it's like I always tell artists that I work with and people who do what I do that sync placement is a game of failure. It's like, I love sports metaphors. It's like baseball, where if you get 3 out of 10, you're an all star. So if I send Kristen 100 songs and she uses 30, like, I'm killing it. That's not probably going to happen no matter who the artist is that you're working with. It can be the biggest artist in the world, or it can be like an indie artist, or everybody who falls in between. It's it's a game of trying to find the right song at the right time for each project, and it's not personal, and it's not something that you should take personal when those placements don't come. It's just kind of, you have to continue to work and write and make it a part of the puzzle that you're putting together, instead of just the end all be all.
And I think a large part of my job on the pitching side is the extensive research part of upcoming projects, and taking detailed notes of different briefs from supervisors or production places, and trailers or movies coming out, just to know where kind of I can pitch the catalog where it fits the best, because ultimately that's what's going to be the slam dunk in hopefully getting a sync.
Then the second part, you said, what do I find myself explaining over and over again? Let me see. How can I put this in a nice way? That nobody owes you a placement. That everybody is working really hard on their projects. Every artist is working really hard on their songs. And the best thing that you can do is prepare and make sure that you have everything ready to go and that you're consistently writing. It's no different than getting your song to some degree on the radio. It takes a lot of work, and a lot of the stars have to line up for you to get those opportunities. Now, you can put yourself in the best situation to get it, but there's no guarantee, and there's no sense of well, I sent this to Emily 15 times and she's never used it, or I sent this to this supervisor and they've never used it. Or feedback. Like a big misconception, I think, is that every time someone like me sends a song to someone like Kristen, she sends back a detailed response on every song that I sent her. And that's not how it works. It's I'm getting music to her. I'm trying to balance between responding to briefs that she may send out and also making her and other clients aware of the music that I'm representing without any expectation that they are going to say, oh, Tarek sent this out for New Music Friday. Now I'm going to review this entire album and give him a response on every song on the album or any song on the album. I don't have those expectations. My expectations are to hopefully stay in the loop when projects come up and to make sure that the music that I represent is considered and in the mix for opportunities. And that's pretty much it. That's the whole expectation that I have is to get the artists that I represent, you know, on the radar of supervisors and studios and networks. But I know that I'm sending out an incredible amount of music, and I even try to balance that be, between the music that I'm listening to and trying to be considerate of what people are working on themselves and not oversend music and not send music out that isn't the right fit. So if I'm working with, a death metal band, I'm probably not going to send that album to Kristen because that's really highly unlikely that it's going to be in an advertisement. Not because I'm not a fan of the band.
Know. You never know.
Because
I don't know. I don't want to be put in that box.
I'm about to hit you with all kinds of death metal tomorrow.
I can't wait.
So it's that
really true though. You never know. You never know.
That balance of making sure that people have the music without trying to overemphasize a certain area that like, oh, okay, like you have the music, but there are certain projects that work better for film or better for TV or better for commercial, and trying to keep that in mind and send people things that I know that they're looking for. Pay attention to, I think Emily said a good thing, pay attention to what the briefs actually say. And I make it a point to, if I don't have anything that fits, then I just don't send anything. And not sending something just because it's a priority or it's someone who's really desperate for a sync, but actually trying to assist the clients, the supervisors, with doing their job. And I think that's the big part of it, is that it's, kind of checking your ego and realizing that you're trying to help somebody do a job and not just trying to get a placement for your client. You're trying to do both. But the reason that I know for me that even going independent, I've been independent for the past 9 years. And before that, I was at labels for 18 years. The reason I feel like I've had success is I think clients know that they can trust me to send songs to them that they actually can use. Even if it doesn't fit, it makes sense why I sent that song. If Kristen asked me for a pop song with up-tempo and feel good, I'm not going to send her a down-tempo, dark and moody electronic song. Just simple things like that. So I think the biggest misconception is that all it takes is me calling or emailing Kristen every day, and then she's just going to use that song because I just bugged the hell out of her. And it doesn't really work like that.
I think another misconception is that if you don't get a response back that the music wasn't listened to or that it wasn't reviewed or that you were ignored. And that's not true either. Like, I think that, artists should understand, and writers should understand that, like, just as they are like crazy in their worlds and like trying to field a lot of moving balls in the air, like so are we. And if someone says that they would review all of your music, I think that you can trust that they did. And that if they didn't get back to you, it's not personal and it wasn't because they didn't like it. It might just be because of one of a myriad of other reasons, like another song that they were looking at previously worked out, or the brief changed, or something, they decided to score something original instead of licensed. Like, there are a lot of scenarios that can arise that can cause a project to pivot. And don't take it personally about your craft and artwork. Like, continue doing what you love, and like you'll get there. Another one I would say is also, knowing that you have a good song and just sort of waiting for the cards to fall into place. I think it's really important to be strategic about the people that you surround yourself with professionally and with your business, and who you decide you want to have represent your music. Who is your manager? Do you have an agent? Like understanding the ins and outs of music licensing so that you know how and what to ask for when you are considering a sync deal. I think that those are all really important things too to pay attention to if you want to. I mean, not everybody has that level of skill set and they want to just be creative. So if you don't want to do that, make sure you have people around you who you trust who are doing it for you, and just so that you're being business savvy as well as creative.
What do you wish artists did more of, either artistically or business-wise? I think it's a good segue into what you kind of said, Kristen. I always say take a chance in writing or trying something new. I think especially for indie artists, pigeonholing themselves as like one genre makes it extremely more hard to work out for sync. I would say like get in uncomfortable positions writing with different types of writers or working with different types of producers, and really figure out maybe what your niche is. It might be totally something different than your mainstream releases or anything that you put on Spotify, but you could be really good at writing anthemic pop songs. And it's not always going to be a slam dunk every time you work with different or collaborate with different people or writers. But I think it's a really good exercise for artists to kind of figure other opportunities for sync out that way.
Yeah. I'd say like lots of collaborating, working with a lot of different people, doing writers camps or artist camps, or pushing yourself into uncomfortable spaces to see if you're interested in maybe another genre, like you just said, Emily, or doing something different. I think that's all, continuing to grow is really important.
And I would say there's two things. For one, it's kind of adding on to what Emily said, get outside of your comfort zone, write more songs. I think that's the biggest thing, is to build up a catalog of songs with different subjects and different ideas, stuff that may not go on an album, that are just kind of ideas that you write down in different characters. I'd love to see songwriters get outside of their comfort zone and write things that maybe wouldn't be for their band project or for a particular album, but are just a great song or a great idea that they had. Write those kind of projects, and I think that helps them develop that skill of being able to write and put themselves in different positions beyond just the single spot that they're known for being in.
And then I guess business-wise, going off what Kristen was talking about previously, just surrounding yourself with a really good team or friends or people that you can kind of ask questions about. I do have to say that our community is amazing, and I think people do want to help a lot of indie artists. And like Kristen said, don't take it as your music wasn't listened to or considered, because I know a lot of people out there really do take into consideration a lot of new music that comes their way.
Yeah. And stay active in the community.
Yeah.
I think that's really important as well, to kind of ingratiate yourself to the community. That was the second thing I lost my train of thought I was going to mention, is do some basic things like actually watch television, watch movies, and watch commercials, and pay attention to the music that's in those projects, so that you're not just thinking blindly, oh, I wrote a song about a hospital, so this should be on Grey's Anatomy. Like, actually watch some shows and watch some films and watch some TV shows and commercials and see what the music is that they use in there. I used to do this a long time ago. It's kind of impossible to do now with all the streaming services, but I used to commit myself to watching 2 episodes of every TV show, just so I had an idea of the kind of music that they used, the characters. And now with so many different projects going on, that's hard to do. But instead of just picking the most popular shows that are out there and saying, oh, I want my song on Grey's Anatomy or Insecure, make sure that you're watching those shows and watching other shows and seeing the types of songs that are being used, and then see where your music fits, so that you're not just thinking, okay, I have this type of reggae song, this should automatically be on this show. Like, watch those shows and pay attention to the music that they use. There's you can Shazam those songs. There's a really great website called tunefind.com where you can see the majority of the music that's placed, at least in television shows, and you can look and see what each show has used on there. It's a great place to reference and see, hey, where does my music, my style fit within this world of licensing? Because the most important thing to remember is that the projects aren't made, films, TV shows, and commercials generally aren't made with music in mind. It's the other way around. You're trying to fit your music into those projects, and it's just another character that goes along with that. So finding the spot for those is important. In that way, you can have kind of targeted pitches. If you have, really great singer songwriter music, maybe there's a show where they use a lot of that kind of music. Or if you're a hip hop artist, what shows use a lot of hip hop, what supervisors use a lot of hip hop, and that way you can target them and not just send music to people that don't really work with that style or not focus on that. Even if you send it out to people, you may want to have some more strategic targets. You said hopefully people will pick some things up and pick up some tips that can help them in their own journey, because it is a long journey. It's not to discourage anybody, but it is something that's not an overnight process. It is something that you build towards. So I
Mhm.
think everything that all of us had to say today is to encourage people and to give them some tips and some insight onto what works, whether you're on the songwriter side, whether you're on the business side, just some hopefully helpful tips that can help people to say, like, oh, okay, let me work on this. Let me make sure that I have the proper contact information and metadata in my songs. Another thing that I think should be important is how you're delivering the music. I wanted to mention that. I just thought about that because you don't want to send big MP3 and WAV files and emails to people's inbox. That's a sure way to get your email deleted. You want to use some type of file sharing service that people use, whether it's Disco, which is kind of a newer one that people use, or Box, something where people can stream it and download it so that it doesn't, take up so much space on their computer is important as well.
Before we end this, let's talk a little bit about Sound Initiative.
So Sound Initiative is a board of 8 to 10 supervisors, music licensing people, people on the publishing side, label side, who last summer, in the wake of the George Floyd situation and a lot of the social unrest, decided to come together to do something to, at least in our industry, help Black songwriters and artists find how to connect their music and get their music placed in film and TV, and provide information, support, connections if they needed, representation, and just kind of an overall education about how to get their music placed in film and TV, because it's a question that comes up quite a bit. I have artists in several different genres who either aren't familiar with film and TV licensing as a business revenue for them as independent artists, or they just have no idea how to do that without being with a label, without being a publisher, and just where to even start, or how to write songs that work well for sync, and what's considered, what genres people are looking for, what a music supervisor is. So we formed this board last summer, I believe, and we just started asking artists to sign up so we can just start the process of educating them, putting them together with mentors or people that may want to represent their music, and just kind of an overall um, sync representation and education format for Black artists who want to get their music placed in film and TV and want to know the steps that they should take. And so we've all come together, and we're still in the process of getting everything organized, but we've started to match make different songwriters with some longtime music executives to work with them and kind of help educate them on what works for sync. And some, maybe even that may even turn into sync representation deals, because some of the people who have signed up work at labels, work at publishing companies, or have their own sync rep organizations. And so it's just an organization just trying to help grow an area that is in a lot of need of that. And artists, especially independent artists that don't have those type of connections to know, hey, here's an outlet for me to get my music to, and see how I can grow my opportunities in the film and TV world.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, thank you, ASCAP, for having us. It's been really fun chatting with you, Kristen and Tarek. And
You as well. Thanks for
Thank
having us.
you.
Good to see you all.
Thanks,
and
ASCAP.
have a blessed day.
What up, what up? How y'all doing? Y'all can hear me? We good? We good? That's what's up. Good looking crowd. What's up, LA? That's what's up. That's what's up. I'm gonna read this real quick. Y'all don't laugh at me. You know what I'm saying? But we're gonna get this going. Hello. I'm Daytwan Thomas, editor-in-chief of Vibe magazine. It's an honor to be here, celebrating 50 years of hip hop. Can you believe it's here already? That's crazy. Clap it up. So today we're talking to two absolute legends from hip hop's golden era, but they're still rocking today. First up, this is going to be a really big Brooklyn panel because I'm from Brooklyn too. We have Big Daddy Kane from Brooklyn, who started out in 1987 as a member of the Juice Crew and soon became one of the most respected solo rappers of his generation. He penned classics like Ain't No Half Steppin', Smooth Operator, contributed to the symphony, that crazy last verse. Any other songs? Who else knows some songs from Big Daddy Kane? Anybody else? Raw? Nah, that's Rakim, but we gonna rock with that. He's also collaborated with Public Enemy, Busta Rhymes, Patti LaBelle, Quincy Jones, and so many more. And after 35 years, he's still rocking today. Let's give it up for Big Daddy Kane, y'all. Goody, goody. Next up, we have one of the most prolific DJs, producers, drummers, and Easy Mo B out of Brooklyn, New York as well. His early hip hop credits are with Big Daddy Kane on his breakthrough album, It's a Big Daddy Thing. And since then, his production skills have graced tracks like The Notorious B.I.G., Tupac, Busta Rhymes, Wu-Tang, Goody Mob, Mos Def, Wiz Khalifa, Alicia Keys, and the most incredible Miles Davis. And of course, Big Daddy Kane. He remains one of the most respected producers in the game. Give it up for Easy Mo B. All right, like I was saying earlier, this is a very Brooklyn panel out here in LA, but we're gonna keep it dope for y'all. First off, I do wanna make that connection to Brooklyn because I went to a high school out there in downtown Brooklyn called Sarah J. Hill High School. I went there, Big Daddy Kane went there, and Easy Mo B, from what I understand, when you were with the group Rapping is Fundamental, your man A.D. Money, he went to Sarah J.
Yep.
How did the whole union come together for you and Big Daddy Kane and that high school being involved?
Well, you're right. You said it. A.B. Money used to go to Sarah J. Hill with Big Daddy Kane, and all during the making of his first album.
Name what he asked you.
Yo, it's gonna be a lot of jokes.
This is what it takes
it's a
to
lot of
answer the
jokes.
question. But this is what it takes to answer the question. All throughout the making of Long Live the Kane,
Kane's first album.
yeah, A.B. Money was bringing me around Kane. And Kane has started to come around our projects, Lafayette Gardens and Bedford-Stuyvesant. And he was checking out this guy next door to me, rest in peace to him, Norman Glover,
Witch Doc.
AKA Witch Doc. So he's coming right next door, so I was jealous. Like, yo, man, come and check me out.
Right.
So from there on, that's where the connection between me and Kane happened, and Kane started to record his second album, and I had always wanted to try to get with him, and around that time, that's when he finally was like, "What you got? Show me what you got." So I ended up giving. The first thing that we did was it became Another Victory.
Another Victory, man. My goodness.
And then the other one was Calling Mr. Welfare.
One of my favorites.
So I want to just say, like, if you're trying to get into this business, if you're trying to find your place and your position, don't be afraid to chase things and people down. Because me, AB, Money, and JR, Rapping is Fundamental.
Yep.
We followed this guy around like puppies. Wherever he was going. There was times where he was like, yo, I'm going to Junior's. Y'all want to come?
Wow.
Junior's restaurant. Like, we going. I was so hungry. I was so starving. I just wanted my chance. I felt like I had what it took to offer something in the music business. And this guy is instrumental to my place in the music business.
Wow.
And he knows it. I tell him all the time. I'm eternally grateful for that.
That's what's up. We gotta clap that up.
Give it up for Big Daddy Kane.
Yes, indeed. And Kane, that's a big responsibility, man. Like, of course, there were rappers that were out around the time that you were coming out of Brooklyn and everything, and you linking with the Juice Crew, the legendary Juice Crew. We'll get into that. But what was that like? That responsibility, being that young, and ushering in this new era in hip hop.
Well, I started rapping in 1982. And I was basically going around different projects, battling people.
That's what it was back then. Yeah.
Battling different MCs in different projects, either at block parties or sometimes in their hallway or
Wherever
they building, wherever. House parties, things of that nature. And I was from a different area in Bed-Stuy than he was. I was from Lewis Avenue. He was in Lafayette Gardens. But my DJ was in Lafayette Gardens, Mr. C.
They lived in the same building, right? Y'all lived in the same joint?
Yeah, I lived in 11C, and Mr. C lived apartment 8C. When we was little kids, I used to look out the window with your mother and lean on the sill. I used to look down and he'd look up. He'd be like, yeah, what's up, booby? That's what the B in Easy Mo B stand for.
Yeah,
Booby, family nickname.
So it was the type of thing where, I was, affiliated with artists around my way on Lewis Ave, but I was also affiliated with artists from Lafayette Gardens. And before I got down with C, I was actually rhyming with AB Money.
Oh, wow. Now
Me,
that
AB
I
Money,
didn't know.
and another brother named Understanding. And then, I went to do my thing, and then these guys ended up getting together. And then they recruited JR, who I didn't even know JR rap. We used to call him Dollar Bill. Remember, he was when he played ball.
Yep.
Yeah. But we all was around each other and rap together. But I'm talking before I even made records.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And the gentleman that he mentioned, Norm, Witch Doctor, he had a crew called the Dominating Three, I believe.
Witch Doctor MC and the Dominating Three MCs.
Yeah. Yeah, Dominating Three. So, we all was around each other. And, one thing I do want to say about that is, like, when I was a crew with AB and Understanding, we called ourselves the Debonair Three. And it didn't take off. And then they got together and they formed, Riff.
Rapping is fundamental. Rapping is fundamental. Yo,
and you heard what he said about the determination. So I think that, it was his ambition and fire that made it possible for, those brothers to have a career.
Right.
And even with me, battling everybody, that's all I knew. It wasn't until '84 when I met Biz Markie
Just about to say.
that I understood, a bigger picture. And we met battling. We battled. And after the battle, he said, yo, I do a lot of shows in Long Island, Harlem, Bronx. If you get down with me, I promise you one day I'm going to get you a record deal.
So you're hearing this, we got to set the stage for that. You're hearing this 1984, 85.
1984, in front of the Albee Square Mall.
Biz is known
No.
to a degree.
Well, he's on flyers.
He's on flyers,
but
right?
He has no records out.
There's no Cold Chillin' yet,
Nah,
the label.
nah. He has no records out.
So
Shantae was on Pop Art.
Wow.
Philadelphia-based
in
label.
Philly, right.
Yeah, there was no Cold Chillin' yet. Yeah.
So you're believing this guy that basically goes all over the city. He's wild at the same time. Can you let the people know how Biz was before they got to see Biz?
This is what type of stuff Biz did. Biz, like there's a party in Long Island. We may have to go to, I don't know, let's say Brentwood, Long Island. Biz would buy a train ticket to like Hempstead, which is far away from Brentwood. And we would be on that train moving cart to cart, trying to hide from the conductor. Slowly moving cart to cart, because our tickets has expired.
Right.
And when the conductor finally catch up to us and kick us off the train, we in Brentwood.
You got to clap it up for Biz with the ingenuity. He knew what to do. In a quick sidebar, there's a documentary that's coming out. You're on the front of it, on the flyer of it, All in the Biz by Sasha Jenkins.
Yes.
Just going through his life. Let's talk about Biz real quick. Outside of that, what did he do throughout like your friendship to help you realize like, hey, I'm supposed to be here with him?
Biz was just so inspirational. He knew how to perform, and Biz was this type of guy that was like, if a known artist was on the show, Biz would greet him with love, show him love, and if the artist would brush him off, then he'd come to us and was like, we gotta tear it down. We gotta destroy them tonight. And I mean, that was his mentality. And I mean, like, he was just so ambitious, and he would do whatever, anything to, come off on stage. And he was a funny dude. His comedic sense was like amazing. And he could think of so much crazy stuff to do on stage that had the crowd laughing and enjoying themselves. Very, very, very creative.
Right.
I mean, like when he was working on his first album, like when Nobody Beats the Biz, he came to me, he was like, yo, I want to use the slogan from The Wiz, but instead say Nobody Beats the Biz instead of Nobody Beats the Wiz.
Oh.
And I want to try this style. And this is all he tells me. I want the style to be like, that's all I had to go off of.
So you were writing for him?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I gotta, write in that.
Hold on, he's just making the noise and you like,
yeah.
Where's the words? He's like, you got the words.
I mean, to me it sounded like, okay, we're gonna make up words. That's what I got from. We're gonna make up words, and it's gonna end in ing.
Collaboration.
We has to be Ian. Go for what I know, do on a show for human being. I mean, it's going to end in ing. We're just going to make up words, to make it rhyme. That's what I got. I mean, the guy came to me and said, I want to make a song called Pickin' Boogers. And I'm like...
Did y'all hear that title?
Yeah.
I want a song. You go to a writer, you go to Big Daddy K and say, I want to make a song called Pickin' Boogers.
I'm like, about what? I don't know, some stories about picking boogers, but somewhere in there, I just want you to say, hey, Ma, what's for dinner? Go up your nose and pick a winner.
these are my instructions to follow to write a song, you know.
And
But
you
I mean,
make a hit.
yeah, I mean, you know, I just felt he had such a creative mind and unique because he thought the way no one else did,
Yeah.
you know.
Giving love to Biz, that's what's up. Now, yes, let's do that. Make sure y'all check out the documentary. Mo B, like, as you're getting into the game, you're doing the joints with Kane, things are starting to pop for you. What did the relevance of Kane looking out for you on that second album do for the rest of your career and who you started to work with?
Well, I always looked at it like my opportunity to work with Kane was not just a chance, it was an endorsement. He
Like that
endorsed.
co-sign.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you got to understand at that time, Big Daddy Kane was of the elitist of MCs,
Yeah.
you know, that you could name. And then I had the opportunity to be on this man's album. I'll never forget when, I don't know if Warner Brothers gave me the promo copy or if you gave it to me, but when I first got the album, I turned it over, I looked on the back, and that's when it finally sunk in. I see all the producers listed. Marley Marl, Prince Paul, Teddy Riley. Then I saw my name. I was like, wow.
That's crazy.
You have arrived.
Where were you when you saw that? Like, where were you in the crib? Like, you was in the studio?
Like, of course, I was where I was at when I got the record, but of course, when I took it back home, and I'm just really sitting there and I'm taking all of this in, I was like, wow. So, thank you, King,
Yes.
for the
yes.
endorsement.
God love the love.
And that led to other opportunities.
Yeah.
That led to other opportunities. And then, of course, years later, we reunited on future albums of his, you know. So.
But people really need to know that, I know we're on the West Coast and everything, and it was the whole so-called East Coast, West Coast thing, but before all that, Bad Boy, you know, created by Sean Puffy Combs, they had their first, the first two singles you produced.
Flavor in Your Ear, right?
Flavor in Your Ear for Craig Mack.
The very first record.
The very first Bad Boy record.
Flavor in Your Ear by Craig Mack.
Y'all know Flavor in Your Ear by Craig
For
Mack.
no confusion, the original version and the remix.
You did both. You did both. You gotta love that. Gotta love that. That's what Big got crazy on that one.
And the Juice Crew
Yes, let's talk about
cold chilling influence was always there. If nobody ever knew it, Flavor in Your Ear was influenced by Craig G's Droppin' Science remix.
Wow.
I never even knew what the sample was. I just know I always loved that sound. To this day, I know that's what. Who's Making Love? Lou
Your
Donaldson,
own,
right?
yeah, to your old
yeah,
lady.
Lou Donaldson. Don't. I just always loved that guitar plucking sound. So I was going through records one day and I stumbled upon this one guitar note. And in the SP1200, you could throw the sound into multi-pitch. So I just was like, don't. And I started adding the drums. And I was like, I did it. I got me the Droppin' Science remix.
And everybody thought that was a horn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Highly influenced by Marley Marl.
There we go.
He's the one.
The conductor of the Juice Crew.
That's right. The producer and director of the Juice Crew. The things that he was doing with the SP1200 at that time.
The machine.
Yeah, and this is all from records. It's all just ideas from taking pieces, clips from records and just arranging them. I thought that was so cool. And my first check
Wow.
that he gave me paid for the SP1200.
That produced.
Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got the
Came,
probably
it
was
came out my
like-
bank account.
SP and the 900.
Huh?
The SP and the 900, right?
No, just the SP 1200.
Just the SP? Oh, okay.
900 came later.
Yeah.
Okay, he gave me the check a certain day. That next day, I was right there on 48th Street in Manhattan at Sam Ash.
Like getting it.
And that's dear to me too. I still got the receipt. One day I keep saying that I'm gonna frame it and put that on a wall because
Got to.
yeah, that's the
it.
genesis. That's the
Drum
entrance.
machine made magic, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But when you think, like, you're working with these guys at the beginning of their careers, Craig Mack and Big, what was it like working with them in the studio, though?
Craig Mack, he reminded me a lot of Biz Markie.
Yeah, boy,
He had a lot of
boy, all that.
Biz Markie undertones to him, like
Right.
his whole drunken and style and the way he used to rhyme. And so I felt like that Flavor in Your Ear beat was perfect for him. It was like, to me, like going back to that cold chilling sound with
Gotcha.
Biz Markie and
And he's animated, so he's all the way there with it.
that's the word I'm looking for,
Yeah.
animated.
Yeah.
And then Big, like you working with Big, he's from Brooklyn, because Craig Mack was from Long Island.
Long Island, yep.
But Big is from Brooklyn, so and he's coming up kind of from the Kane era.
Biz was from everywhere, right?
Yeah, that's what he. That's
He
what
moved
said.
around a lot.
Biz was,
Yeah.
but Big, I'm talking about Biggie. Like Big, what was it like working with him?
Biggie, he was like crazy laid back. In the studio, I remember the first time that we started working, he, the music would just be looping. The engineer would set the 24-track tape machine so that the song would just repeat over and over. And he ordering food, he got girls coming through. You know, him and Junior Mafia, they throwing spitballs at each other, whatever. 2, 3, 4 hours going past. And Kane, though, when me and Riff, we used to go to the studio, we was paying for our own studio time. It wasn't from no major record label budget.
Yeah.
So 3, 4, 5 hours passing by, I was like, yo, what's going on, man? Is you writing or anything? And he's sitting there, he's like, I got you. Then he orders some more food. He's like, yo, I'm gonna step out, we'll be back.
Oh God.
And he come back, do that a little more, then he just got up and went into the booth. And I remember he was like smiling, looking at me like that. Went in the booth, bong, bong, bong.
Is this for party?
Big.
This for party and bullshit, or just?
Yeah, for Party and Bullshit. That was the very first song that we recorded. And he go in there, he just bang out 3 verses. I ain't understand that. But then again, I was like, you should understand it. Because Kane, you know this too. In our circle, who we was around, A.B. Money from our group, Rapping is Fundamental, he never wrote a rhyme down in his life either.
Wow,
Right?
that's crazy.
A.B. Money would store everything up in his head and then go in the booth, and then sometimes he would just like kind of freestyle the rest of it, and before you know it, he got a verse. So me seeing Big do that, it wasn't new, it was just aggravating. Because A.B., I knew I could count on him, I know what he was gonna do, but this was new with Big. Other than that, he was fun to be around. He made a lot of jokes. I miss working with that dude.
Yeah.
Working with him, people like Craig Mack.
And you work with Tupac as well.
Yeah. I met both of them around the same time, and when I met them, the 2 of them, they was friends. Everything keep falling back to Kane, to this
Yeah,
man.
because you know where I'm going with it.
Kane is at Madison Square Garden,
Oh, that. Ooh.
Budweiser Superfest, 92?
90.
93?
93.
93. Budweiser Superfest at Madison Square Garden, 1993. Kane performs on the same bill you had SWV,
SWV, BBD.
Keep Sweat,
Yeah.
and all rappers in the 90s, they had like 1,000 people on stage. So he had us on stage, and me and AB and JR, we were standing back by Mr. C. Like, we were like back there, like where those yellow lights at. C was behind there. Kane, he's out there, he's freestyling. Kane brought out Shaheem,
The rugged child from Wu-Tang.
Wu-Tang Associated. He brought out his dancer, School Lover, changed his name today, AKA Johnny Famous. And then, out of nowhere, we didn't know this was gonna happen. Kane said, "Where's Tupac and Biggie Smalls?"
Whoa.
I'm like, yo, I was already working with him at the time, so I didn't know Kane even knew him. I had a relationship with him. Brought them out on stage. They both freestyle.
And that's when you stopped Fat Joe from rapping. I heard that came out recently.
Yeah.
We're going to get back to that, but I just wanted to
Is
say
that true?
No, it's true.
I don't even remember that.
Right after, because Big rhymed, Pac rhymed, I rhymed, and then stage manager was like, let me know I had 5 minutes left, and I hadn't done warming up or half stepping.
Whoa.
And Joe was coming, and I was like, I gave him like, yo.
Not today, Joey.
Nah.
I'm just.
Nah, it was like, yo, I can't, you know. Because in all honesty, I remember when Bobby Brown had brought me out at the Garden, maybe a year prior. No, maybe like 4 years prior.
Right.
He brought me out. This is when, the Don't Be Cruel joint. He brought me out, and me, Rakim, Kumo D, Heavy D, all of us, Just Ice. He let all of us rhyme. So I really wanted to do the same thing, but I didn't have enough time. I didn't have enough time.
But what you did do, though, and Mo, we're going to get back to that. What you did do, though, Funk Master Flex in New York on Hot 97, he plays that clip every night. He plays that clip. It's so iconic. It's from 93, and you just get to hear Pac's aggression just jumping out. He was ready. Big just tearing it down. You going.
No, he don't play my damn verse.
But look, what's iconic about that night, and like I said, all roads lead back to Big Daddy Kane. What's iconic about that night is that's the night when, for the first time, Biggie and Tupac was joined together on stage, and that's the night after that, backstage, that's where I met Tupac. He approached me, he walked up to me, he said, yo, that Party and Bullshit, the joints you did with Big, he said, yo, I like that, I want to hook up with you too. I'm here in New York, and I'm taping a movie. The movie was Above the Rim.
Above the Rim.
He said, I'm uptown at the Rucker Park, across the street from Polo Grounds, 155th, Harlem. He said, yo, come by my set and, play me some songs. I get breaks, we go on my trailer. So I took me, AB, and JR, we went up there, and one of the first beats that I played them, that became Temptations.
Make sure y'all check that when we get about. Yeah.
And while I was in the studio, I was always good for that, asking an artist, is there any particular sample or somebody that you want to work with, you always wanted to sample? And I'll never forget, he said, yeah, give me some Bootsy, man, I want some Bootsy.
Bootsy Collins?
So the Bootsy ended up becoming Straight Ballin' from What's a Telephone Bill? That became Straight Ballin'. And Pac, he was a smart dude. We recorded a big batch of songs, but imagine, instead of putting them all on the same album, he was smart. He took Temptations and If I Died Tonight, and we did that. He put that on Me Against the World. We did Straight Ballin'. He threw that on his Thug Life album. We did My Block. He took that and put that on the show soundtrack. And it's kind of smart You know what? It reminded me a lot of the same strategy later that RZA would use.
From
What
Wu.
happens is when you do that, you end up on the charts competing with yourself. You know what I mean? Like Wu-Tang was on Loud RCA. Then he took Old Genius and put him over on Geffen. He took ODB, put him on
Spread them around.
on Electra.
Electra, yeah.
Ghost is over there at Epic. And so when the records come out, like when we did the stuff with Tupac, at times there was different records we did on the chart at the same time. I had to see it later. I was like, yo, this dude was smart.
He did it.
He had a strategy, because he could have took them all and put them on one album.
Right.
You know.
Doing the research and everything, I saw Idi Amin from the Outlaws with Pac. He was saying that, King, that you and Pac ran into each other and that Pac looked out, that y'all linked in some way. And I was like, word, I didn't know. So I wanted to ask you, did you ever link with Pac in any way during any of those days? Because Idi Amin, he was like, yeah, he was with Big Daddy Kane. And I was like, what? So I don't know if y'all recorded or anything like that.
Nah, I met Pac in, I believe it was 1990, I think, when I went on tour. I took Digital Underground out.
Oh, wow.
And that's when Pac and Money B was dancing for Humpty. So that's when I first met Pac, when he was with Digital. And he used to, you know, he pretty much was with School and Scrap every night. And then one night he came and he was like, you know, I want you to hear something. And he spit for me. And I was like, you know, oh, yeah. He was like, yeah. He's like, I don't really, you know, I'm trying to do something a little different than what I do with Digital. But I'm about to, you know, do some solo stuff, man. And I'm like, yeah, man. I'm like, yeah, you sound hot, man. And he was telling me about, you know, what he had in the works and everything. And I just, you know, was like, well, you know, good luck with it, man. I wish you the best, man. You know, I'm like, y'all dudes is mad talented, man. I love where you going flow-wise, man. You know, but no, other than that, nah. I mean, just that. I mean, we linked like probably like maybe like 9 months or so right before he passed. At the same place. It was a Tyson fight. Whoever Tyson fought right before that.
Yes.
That incident. We was out there because Suge was talking to me about coming to Death Row East.
What?
So we was out there for a meeting.
Hold on. You had the opportunity to sign to Death Row East. Was that around the time when Eric B. was involved and everything?
Yeah.
Did you consider it? Was it a...
No, I mean, it was like, I wasn't signed to nobody and no other label was offering me a deal. And, you know, Eric hit me up and said, yo, Suge want to holler at you. You willing? I was like, yeah. So, you know, flew out there.
Suge hollering is different.
Huh?
I heard somebody was like, whoa. Like, you get that, yo, you got to talk to Suge. Most people...
Nah, Eric was like, you know, he told me about the Death Row East thing. He said, yo, Suge wanted to holler at you. You know, you interested? And I was like, yeah. So I flew out to L.A. and we chopped it up. And then, you know, Suge was like, yo, you want to roll to the Tyson fight? So we bounced to Vegas. And we was out there in Vegas talking about it. And then when me and Pac started talking about working together, and Suge was like, what y'all waiting for? Let's do it now. So we got on a flight and flew back from Vegas like that night and went to Death Row Studio. And I recorded a song with Pac called Wherever You Are. I wrote a song for Hammer called What You Gonna Do For Me. And me, Pac, and Hammer did a song called Too Late Player, using Junior song Too Late.
Oh, my goodness. That one came out?
Too Late and the joint with me and Pac, you can find those on YouTube. The one I wrote for Hammer, when he was going through his whole religious thing, he changed the words and like made it like a gospel song. So it's a little different.
He flipped it up. He flipped it up. Wow, man. I mean, like, y'all hear the legends that they've been rocking with? Like, this is wild. And we didn't even get into the whole Jay-Z thing and all that stuff. But before we talk about other artists, I do want to get, like, your creative kind of, like, process. Because we always talk about, like, how Big doesn't write or, like, Jay doesn't write. And, you know, Easy Mo B, you know, you've talked about making beats in a couple of minutes. And some people do that and you only use vinyl. What's your creative process when it's time for you to, you know, go ahead and go to the studio? Did you already get the beat and you're writing to it and you spitting? Or
It can be either or.
Doing that?
Sometimes I have an idea, a concept in mind, and I don't want it to escape me. So I may sit and create a whole song and then search for a track that fits it or connect with a producer that can create one around the lyrics. So sometimes it works that way. And then there's other times where, like, you know, normally, like especially with working with him, he give me something that I feel is fire, I just write to the track, you know? So it either or with me.
And does it take you long? Like, do you a day or two, or do you sit?
You know, it differs, man. I'm a Virgo, so I'm real, you know. I just believe that, and I just have the strong belief that an artist paints a masterpiece. So, you know, I may sit there and paint my masterpiece in 30 minutes. I may sit there and start painting the masterpiece for 2 hours and walk away for 2 days and come back, you know, several days later and finish.
Okay, I gotta ask you, how long did it take you to do Platinum Plus for Big L? Because that was like one of your comebacks to let everybody know I still got it on there.
That we did that day, because it was, everything was so spur of the moment. It was like I was sitting in my lawyer's office, and he got a call from Premier's lawyer about some other paperwork, and then he says, you know, what Primo need to do is have Big Daddy Kane on that album.
Wow.
And then Primo lawyer said, hey, Theo just said that you should put Kane. And Premier was like, yo, where Kane at? Yo, tell him to come to D&D. Is he busy? Tell him to come to D&D right now. So I just went over there, and he played the track and told me what he had in mind, you know, boom, 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 and we put it together.
Oh, my goodness, man. Y'all got to listen to Platinum Plus with Big Daddy Kane and Big L from Harlem. It's incredible. Y'all understand why I asked that question. Mo, we were talking earlier and also in the research. I saw you, a couple of years ago at the Classic Car Joint.
Yeah, the Classic
on the west side. It's like a vintage car spot, and it's almost like a WeWork, or not a WeWork, like a Soho House. You have to have a membership to get in there and all that stuff. But I didn't expect Easy Mo B to come in this posh spot, coming to DJ. And not only did he come to DJ, most DJs today, they come in, they have their Serato, you know, they get hooked up. He just had crates of records in his records. And I was like, yo. And some of the people that was there was like, what is he doing? They had no idea what he was doing. They didn't even know what was in the crates. And they're like, that's the DJ? So he's bringing in the crates of records and gets busy on vinyl. Hardly anyone does vinyl anymore.
Still to this day.
Still to this day, like, yes.
Yeah.
Clap up. What is it about vinyl that, like, even right now, you're not doing Serato. If anybody in here asks you to go DJ their party, you come in with the crates.
Yeah. That's mainly because I'm a classics man. I like to play my classics. You know, I don't play too much of the new stuff. And that music is just something about it, and handling the vinyl.
Like physically handling it.
Yeah. Everything from the sound of dropping the needle and the slight crackle on it's a vibe. It's something that just do something to me, man.
Yeah.
And it causes the outcome of them beats. You know, when you're chopping the kicks and the snares, and then I'm taking something that normally goes like this, and I'll take this part, that part, and then taking it and twisting it and rearranging and creating something new with it. it's what I know, it's what I come from. It's what me and him did. It's what all of the earliest hip hop did. And if people always try to figure out what is this affinity that I have with the vinyl, that's me keeping my soul together. That's me making sure I don't lose, you know what I mean? The vibe, the feeling, all of it, it matters, man.
It does.
It matters.
I mean, that's a deep connection. You know, that's like a soul tie with the music.
It comes from my father being a young kid growing up in Brooklyn in the projects, and my father, he had all them 45s stacked high in the corner in the living room, even up in his closet in the hallway, he had 45s, and he played blues, funk, soul, gospel. That's what I adopted, and I'm still carrying that out. I always wanted to make beats that sound like when you drop a needle to a 45. So
that's what's up. And Kane, you produced too. That's the thing. People don't realize like how much you've produced, and over the course of so many years, you start hearing about the stories of your albums, and like, well, Kane said this, and Kane said that. Did you ever want to kind of like get an artist? Because you had Jay-Z at one point to a degree, Little Daddy Shane. Did you ever want to kind of get an artist, foster artists, and get them out into the world?
Yeah, well, I mean, I tried that, back then with Jay-Z and Positive K at the same time. And there was a vocalist by the name of Larry Williams.
Right.
Like I had the three of them, and I was trying to shop them. And, it just became a tedious thing. And, I just finally this is not for me. But I definitely tried because, there were certain artists where I met, like when I met Jay-Z, it wasn't even meant for me to work with Jay. It was meant for me to work with his man Jazz.
Jazzo.
Yeah. They were like we did a freestyle tape together. We did a freestyle mixtape together. And then afterwards, they said, the Jazz didn't have his deal anymore. And they were like, would you be willing to work with him to try to help him get a deal? And honestly, I kind of like that little light-skinned motherfucker better. Can I work with him? And
so instead of the Jazzo situation, you was like, I like the little young kid that's
yeah.
You see what the little light skin turned into, right?
Yeah.
Let's see what he turns into. That's wild. And you used to have him come out.
Yeah, on the stage.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the same tour that I was talking about, that I took digital on.
Yep.
Like I had digital, MC Light, Queen Latifah.
Oh my goodness.
And Third Base.
Wow, what a tour.
Yeah.
And they on your tour.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
But I just did Feels Like Another One with Patti LaBelle. So
Feels Like Another One.
When we we paused the tour so that I could go on the road with Patti. And when I was on Patti tour, doing a song with her, just one night I just happened to just realize, yo, that's not the same outfit that Patti just had on. And the comedian that was the host, he was like, where you been, man? That's like her third outfit tonight. I'm like, so then the next night I paid attention. I'm like, yo, she did like 3 outfits. Oh, I'm like, nobody hip hop doing this. So when I finished Patti tour, got ready to go back out on the road again, I called Jay and I called Positive K. I was like, I want y'all to come out with me. I was like, I want to try something new. So I do half the show in one outfit and then call out Jay-Z, Positive K, let them come out freestyle while I go backstage and change it to another outfit and come out and finish the show.
Yo, come on, y'all. This is wild. You gotta give it up. Over 50 years of hip hop, we have these 2 legends up on the stage. It's been a pleasure. I really want to give y'all a chance to ask a couple of questions. We got a couple of minutes for some questions out here. Oh goodness, this is Try this one over here with the Vibe shirt on.
Hello, everyone. My question for you both is, throughout your careers, you got to work with so many talented people. Was there anybody that you didn't get to work with that you wanted to work with, or is there anybody that you would like to work with in the future?
I think my biggest mess up was the light-skinned guy. He just told you. I was busy at the time, right there, right around 94. No, after that, around about 95. And this is when Jay was in the making of Reasonable Doubt. And I'll never forget, downtown Brooklyn, right there, at a Brooklyn Academy of Music. He used to drive an Acura, and I had an Acura, and we was driving past. He was like, yo, yo, yo. So we get out, we exchange numbers, and me being so busy, it just didn't happen. So, yeah, Jay-Z is one person that, if anything, I wish that I had worked with. In short, I'm trying to tell you, I was supposed to be on Reasonable Doubt.
And Ken?
With me, it would be CeeLo Green and Lauryn Hill.
That's a mean track right there.
Yeah.
Dude in the back with the hat.
I do. Kane, first of all, I want to give you your flowers. I know you always get flowers for being one of the greatest MCs of all time, but I want to give you your flowers for being that dope on the mic and your dance moves, bro. Yo, I just want to say, this is one of the greatest on the mic, but dancing too. I never saw a dude that lyrically, like on his level, that can cut a rug at the same time at that level too. So brother, hey, I'm giving you my flowers as a fellow dancer and rapper. Now for my nerd question, my music nerd question. So I was 5 when your first album came out, so I missed a lot. I used to collect Yo MTV Raps cards. I had some of your cards. So I didn't really know the impact until I heard Set It Off, like 20 years later, when I was performing myself. So I started performing that song as a cover for fun for our old school section. That verse, when you start off a cappella and the beat comes in, did y'all have it planned like that? Or was it after you heard it and they were like, yo, let's cut off the beat and then start?
It was planned. I was listening to Sex Machine one day on the radio. And I was just sitting there zoning like, yeah, I got to do something like this on the album. Like, I just want to build up the momentum before the beat drop. And you know how like James Brown is like moving, grooving. Can I count it all? Can I count it all? Like he just building up the momentum. So that's why I was like, I want to do something like that. So I just, but you know, in a hip hop fashion.
Yeah,
so
and it gave me that feeling.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like, this had to be intentional. So I just, as a music nerd, I wanted to ask you that. So thank you. That's cool.
What's up? Right. Dude, right next to you? Yeah.
Cheers, mate. What's the best line? What's your favorite line of any artist? Whole panel.
Mine would be from Cool G Rap. When he said, you wish your name had a G, but to be a badder G, boy, you got to play with strategy. I heard that and said, damn, I wish my name had a G. You know? Yeah.
Mo? One of your favorite lines?
One of my favorite lines, I think it would have to be on his Ain't No Half Steppin'. The way the song just started, and Ain't No Half Steppin', that first line, that also made me understand how important it is. Like your first words, boom. First thing you say, that's gonna set the tone for everything that follows the rest of the song.
Oh my goodness.
You know,
I gotta go with Kane too. And I was a kid, of course, in Brooklyn. and everywhere else, we used to play video games. You know, and to play video games, you had to get a quarter. So Kane, see? So you had to, and I'm a kid, and you hearing this rhyme, and it's like, it's so great. So he said, so put a quarter in your,
Because you played yourself.
and I was like,
Witty, crazy.
I was
witty.
just like, and you gotta remember, as a kid, we putting quarters up on the joint, go play. I'm like, oh, he play yourself, but put it in your, it's mine. It's just,
Yeah, but the very first few words you say is crucial.
automatic.
I know plenty of y'all done heard songs where just in the first 2 bars, you're like, oh, hell no.
Grab their attention.
That's
You
how I felt
you
about
got
Raw.
rappers stepping to me.
It's got, come on, man.
You know what I mean?
That's how I felt about Raw.
Oh, Raw.
You know, because
Settle.
with just rhyming with Biz, you know, here I am with my first single. It's playing on the radio, but I'm at home broke because nobody's booking me for shows because Biz is on the song and everybody thinks it's Biz record. So they're just booking Biz. I'm home flat broke with a song playing on the radio. Me and Scoob still walking to the corner store to steal Mrs. Paul's fish sticks so we have something to eat at night.
Yo,
Serious,
it's
real
crazy,
talk.
real talk. Real
And I'm
talk.
begging Fly Ty, that's the person who owned Cold Chillin' Records, I'm begging him, let me put a new song out. And he's like, nah, just Rhyme with Biz still has momentum. It still has, he wouldn't let me put a new song out. Then finally he got sick of me asking. He was like, yo, go ahead in the studio, let me see what you come up with. If it's stronger than this, we'll talk about it. And that's when I went and recorded Raw. And for this, knowing that, okay, this is my chance to showcase my talent. And I don't have to worry about, you know, like Biz being on the song and, you know, people not recognizing it's my song. That's why the first thing come out my mouth is, here I am, R-A-W.
A terrorist.
That's the reason why I
here to
started.
bring trouble to phony MCs who move on and seize. I just conquer. Yo, do y'all understand what happens?
Well, all the rest of that is something else. But I mean, I'm just saying that first line.
I'm just telling you.
First line, though.
That's why. And then did Cool G get on like it was like an extended version?
He was with me. He was with me the night I recorded Raw. And then Marley brought the track back, and me and G just rhymed.
That was.
So then after Raw came out, Marley started playing the one with me and G. So people started calling BLS, requesting it. And when they started requesting it, Marley said, yo, I want y'all to do this on my album.
In Control?
Yeah, he was like, I want y'all to do this again, but on my album. So he's like, okay, cool. So we was gonna do a song for Marley. And then Marley came and said, yo, I told Craig that y'all doing the joint, and Craig said he want to be on it. But I had just heard Duck Alert.
Yeah.
And I was like, you know, Craig done, you know, grew a lot from Transformers. I'm like, yo, Craig is killing it right now. I'm like, yeah, no problem, that's fine. So now it's going to be me, Craig, and G. And then the day we're taking photos for Marley's album cover, we go to his house, and he say, let's do the song. But he said, I want to put my new artist on it also. And
Master Ace.
Yeah, this guy sitting there with these big, gigantic glasses on, and I was like, I'm not rocking with glasses. I'm out. I'm out. And G was like, I'm out too. So we was about to go to the pizza shop, or say we was going to the pizza shop and leave. And then the whole big discussion started about, you know, who gonna go first and who gonna go last. And then Ace just, you know, got up and rhymed.
Yep.
And when he rhymed, I just started elbowing G like, your glasses kind of nice. And I was like, yo, I got a lot of respect for this dude. And we stayed, we finished the song, and that ended up being the symphony.
Ooh, my goodness. Incredible story. Way over there in the back. I know she's been raising her hand over there. But they got a mic.
Well, this isn't really a question. I just wanted to circle back to when Mo was talking about Flavor in Your Ear and how he made the instrumental. I just want to thank you for that instrumental because that was the first hip-hop instrumental that I looked up, like hip-hop type beat on YouTube. And that was the one that really, like, being my homegirls, we would always just play it and freestyle to it. And I want to thank you and let you know your art doesn't go unnoticed, even 20, 15 years from now. Thank you. because I still hear it and it still goes crazy.
That's what's up. That's what's up. It was someone over here that wanted, yeah, right here.
What's going on? For Kane, my question is, what was the most memorable record to make? And for Mo, what was your favorite beat that you made? And what's a beat that you didn't make that you wish you made?
Oh, okay.
You go, no, you go. I want to hear this.
My favorite beat that I've made, a lot of people would think she talked about the flavor in your ear. No. My favorite beat, believe it or not, is Everything Remains Raw, Busta Rhymes. And the reason why is because if you listen to that beat with The Coming, Busta's album was 94, right?
That was the second album?
Yeah.
94. In Everything Remains Raw, it explains everything in my style. Everything about my style is in there. The chopping of the beats and rearranging and creating something brand new. Because that's what Flavor in Your Ear was too. It was something from nothing. In other words, in Flavor in Your Ear, there's no loops. I have the one guitar note that I was transposing, bum, bum, and then I added drums and on the hook, what I had like a rock guitar lick, and that was kind of it. But Everything Remains Raw is like, to me, like Flavor in Your Ear on steroids.
Yeah, yes.
Because I got real technical with it. I started adding pads of like Rhodes keyboards. It's like some sweet Rhodes in there, and you have some futuristic bleep sounds that I was using, and none of it is a loop. Everything that you hear that's happening in that beat is original, and I'm making it happen. So that's the reason why that beat is one of my favorite beats, if not the favorite, because it explains
You got the whole thing in
my
there.
style. And, you know, I want to give props to Jay Dilla. I want to give props to Jay Dilla, because his sound just so crazy. I met someone in his crew. And first of all, my brother, I got a brother that produces too, LG Experience. He was going down to Detroit and he was messing with some artists, and he ended up around them, and they told me many years later, they said, yo, you don't know how much Dilla loved you, man.
Wow.
And when I sit and I listen to his sound, I'm like, wow, it's amazing that if on any level that I could influence somebody like that. So it's like,
I have to be honest with y'all. I have never in my entire life heard nobody who chop game on a drum machine is as amazing as this dude sitting to the left of me, man. You remember that night when I got on your nerves with the Donny Hathaway joint?
oh yeah.
When I was driving you crazy, you put the headphones on so I couldn't hear it no more?
Like
I'm trying to get him to finish the damn beat, you know, and he got tired of me nagging him. He put the headphones on and started making it. Yeah, like I've never, oh my goodness, this dude is so phenomenal. But I'm gonna tell you, there you go. My favorite Easy Mo beat is a beat that you probably never heard. Since everything is available in the world, I'm pretty sure you can find it online, but it's a song called Who's the Man? I think that's probably the best beat this dude ever did.
Rapping is fundamental.
Ridiculous.
Okay, yeah, I had put out some independent stuff, pressed up our own records and put it out in the 90s. We had the other two groups on there too, The Nation and Soul Survivors. But what he's talking about there is also throwing back to the favorite beat that I told you about, Everything Remains Raw. I got to a point where I just got tired of looping. I was managed by Rush. He was managed by Rush too, but Rush Artist Management. And then they started RPM Rush Producers Management. And rest in peace to this woman, Francesca Sparrow, that was managing me over there. Fran, you probably know her.
Yeah.
One day she called a meeting, and me, Daddy-O, Large Professor, Hank Shockley from Bomb Squad, all of us called us all in the room together and handed us out a memo. And it was a paper, and it had all of these different names on it. We looking, she hands the memo out to us, and all it is a list of, it said Prince, Anita Baker, Steve Miller Band. It goes on and on and on. And she said, you see that? We was confused, like, yeah. She said, stay away from them.
Wow.
Meaning like,
don't sample.
Be more mindful in what you sample and how you sample. And I remember I left the office. I was parked right outside on the sidewalk. You remember 298 on Elizabeth Street. The car was parked right outside. I went outside and I got in the car. I ain't even pull off right away. I sat there probably about 5-10 minutes. And yo, I was depressed. Because in my mind, I was like, yo, what I'm gonna do? What you gonna do? And then it's like another me started talking to me and said, why you always gotta loop stuff? Why don't you, instead of sampling big loops, why don't you sample the instruments out of records and play back something new? And that's how we got Flavor in Your Ear.
Yeah. Everything
Remains Raw. The joint I did with him, the La La Land. It's an art. It's an art. It's piecing. It's making a collage. It's the piecing together of something brand new. That's why since then I strayed away from a lot of the looping. There was times when I returned to it, but only when it was easy to be cleared.
Right.
Like when I did Straight Ballin' with Tupac, the What's a Telephone Bill by Bootsy's Rubber Band, in a scoop, they was willing to clear it. Then there's other different things that you can do if you're gonna sample, if you're a producer and you're working with a label. Sometimes, just say like you're working for Warner Brothers. If you're gonna sample from the Warner Brothers catalog.
There you go.
They'll be more than open to clear that. That's
Yeah,
what I would do a lot of times too. I'm working with a label. I'm saying, oh, this is Capitol, and then I said, let me figure out the mergers. Oh, EMI owns Capitol, so I'm like, yeah, do that.
There you go.
You know,
super smart, y'all. I'm so sorry we got to wrap it up. Definitely got to wrap it. But what we want to do is we want to thank you for listening and being a part of this. Your questions were amazing as well. King, Moby, it's been an honor.
Thank y'all, and salute to my brother Big Daddy Kane. He gave me my first opportunity. Eternally grateful, bro. No doubt.
Thank
Gotta get you back. So, I hope you guys enjoyed that. I was just trying to give you guys a little bit of something different. Figured a little bit of education tonight. A lot of people ask me questions. A lot of people trying to figure it out. I really enjoyed those 2 episodes. That's why I kept watching them. Follow the advice from that stuff, man. Listen to that. It really opened up your mind to different opportunities, different options. Not everything is what it seems, A lot of people are just seeing it's like you're making a song and that's it. No, there's more to it. Designating where your song. That's a good point. If you go and you sample from places that are well known, you know, places that are going to be more accepting to those kinds of things, like Warner Brothers, what he just said. So yeah, that's a good idea. ASCAP is sorry about that. ASCAP is good. BMI is great too. You know, just choose your path, what you're trying to do, and what you want to do. When you're doing things with other management groups, you'll find that you can end up with like 3 different labels doing different things for all those labels. You don't have to be just with one. Just because you're signed to one label doesn't mean that there's stipulations that you can't sign with another one. You know, get as many as you can and be creative. I know this was more hip hop oriented, on pop and stuff like that, but the video before wasn't. It was more general for everybody. I mean, even the guy himself in there was black. He said he was working with a death metal band. So I knew that these videos were good. And then there's a lot of people who were asking me, happen to be into the hip hop thing, so I figured that video was the best one for them, so they can kind of get an insight. And it's a different kind of video because everybody else watches, you know, something beats, Kyle Beats, and SG7, which is like that big old guy that always gets angry and shit. Glenn Fricker, I think is his name, and you know, you got all these characters that you watch on the internet, and yeah, they're coming up, and they're got their own field of independency, and they're independent artists and stuff like that, and they're doing their own thing. But there's a bigger world out there. There's a way bigger world out there, and a lot. Honestly, to be honest with you, a lot of these new influencers on there are imposters. So look out for that. To be honest with you, I'm not gonna lie to you, man. So people will say advice like mix this and do this, and you'll see those videos. Try to be mindful. Like listen to what's going on. Like there was one I was watching earlier, and he was like trying to say that you know was trying to show people how to mix, but his mixes sounded like shit. And he was like, "Oh yeah, do this," and I'm like, "Oh no, don't do that." You know, like he was trying to say that his master bus was simple, and he had like 8 plugins. It was like, didn't you just contradict what you just said in the beginning? So yeah, pay attention to what people say. There's all kinds of false information out there. You know, I show you how to make mixes, and what I do, it's very simple. And the reason why is it's literally simple is the best. Less is more. That's the best advice that you can ever listen to. You know, when you're doing the mixing and the mastering, less is fucking more. And you know what I use? Just a simple little limiter. Sometimes that limiter isn't even doing anything. It's just kind of just keeping things at a certain volume. You know, try a compressor in the right spot and using a multi-compressor for the right reason, like pulling down the mids instead of actually EQing the mids out and taking out the dynamics. You could just push them down a little bit. You can put a curve in the signal and the overall general sound, so you could get that sound. You know, I tell you guys all these tips all the time because I've gone through hundreds of videos and I've gone through at least 50 plus mistakes myself, and I've listened to songs that I did 2 years and listen to songs now and see my progress. I do that all the time. Humbling yourself is important. You know, you have to do that. You have to. I mean, I know we can be our own critic in a way that's so bad for us and so toxic, and we're not, but get up another opinion and really humble yourself sometimes. You know, sometimes, like that guy said in the video, when he said, stop, get away from that, those looping, making, make your own, take chops and pieces to make something new, and when it's the question in his head was, why am I looping? He was humbling himself. That's what I mean by that. So always do that. And no one's ignoring your music. No one doesn't care about your music. They are. You're just not putting your music where it needs to go. There's all those chairs that are filled up in there that you saw in there, those people, they're not special people. They're just like me and you. You can call up and find out where the nearest spot is for that. You can go to these meetings. You can go see these shows. You can go participate in the Aztec community. You know, you just gotta contact them. I don't get to because I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere. I don't have a car. I don't have anything. No one wants to do anything, so I'm always stuck. You know, but there's still stuff online. You know, and there's still plenty of things that I can do. I just never can. Like I don't have a car. So if I had a car and transportation, things would be a little different for me right now. But you know how that rolls. People don't give a shit. You know, I actually could make money if I could get traveling and because I had the ability to record and stuff. So with that skill in itself, you know, you could go get the recordings and always come back home with it and finish them, so you can make money. So you can literally go out there, just like Kiss did back in the day, and you can go, hey, let's go record this band right now. Go get you some takes. Go get you those things. Use your headphones to get some, good takes in there. And you get to hear them back. You won't hear them in your monitor just yet. And then you can come back home and work on it. Or rent out a studio. Buy and invest in buying studio time. Putting your band that you want to record in that studio. Bringing your equipment in that studio space. You know, they have a great place down the road from me. It's $90 a month. And you can hold your own little studio. That means if I had that, I could charge people $300 for time in that studio with me. You know, you don't want to do like I've seen this video where they were just like they rent out the studio and you got a bunch of people just making noises and fucking with all the equipment. If you can't insure your equipment with insurance, do not do that, because then someone's gonna break your shit, and then you're not gonna have that item anymore, and you're gonna fail. You know, so don't do it that way. You know, you're the engineer, so you have your shit. That's important. Keep that in mind. But yeah, music is free to make at home usually. The equipment's not free. Getting yourself out there, advertising it, and marketing it, it's not free. It costs money. Whether it costs gas money to get somewhere to do it. Or maybe you're paying for AdSense. Maybe you're trying to make a video. Maybe you got to get someone else to make the video and edit it. It costs money. You got to invest. But it's not to say that it's impossible to do it all by yourself, because you can. I'm doing that, I don't have money to put it in for AdSense. I do need to, but I have something now that I can use for that. But I can only do it a few times, and to be honest with you, $7 only gets me a week of advertisement, which does me no fucking good. 25, so how the fuck are you gonna do that? On top of bills. And a lot of people just don't have the means and the ability is there, but they just don't have the money and the means to do it. And it's sad, and it sucks. And these companies out there are vicing on people, and actually that is the control. That is the cap, the ceiling, the paper ceiling, that actually keeps, the over accumulation a little bit. Because if everyone was able to just do it, it probably would be an overload. But in a sense, that should tell you that if you can obtain those things, that you could do it. It's possible. So just keep striving, guys. Don't give up. I'm pretty pissed off because of what happened to me. And I really like that song, Shepherd. I fucking love that song. I just needed to fix the vocals, and I had it, and it was done. And man, he got me right before I could do that. I was so upset. So those songs that I had, They'll be on YouTube. You'll probably see a new version of Omens. I'll try to get Shepherd, and I'll try to get the other one done. There's no promises, because I mean, honestly, I learned Omens, but the other two, they're a conglomerate of riffs that I played, but they're kind of complicated. Honestly, to be honest with you, some of them were really complicated because they weren't exactly on the drum beat like you would think. If you ever listen to Mother by Danzig, that's kind of what I was, kind of like that. It's like, you can play that song and it's so simple, but can you really play it the way that they did it? Probably not, because their timing's a little different. It's not like, we always hear someone covering it and it sounds different, because they're not playing it in the way that they did it. They did it very off-kilter. A lot of bands that are analog, very strict and analog, I don't even use. I mean, they do now. They mix in the digital because they're catching up to that game, but for a long time, people were just doing digital recording. Analog recording. They go in an enclosed room or something, and it's trained for acoustics, and they just play it out. And so you get that wholesome sound, which is great, but you can still achieve a much cleaner and more in-your-face sound. Use both. Make that analog recording and then play exactly onto the T on top of that with the digital. Edit it and make it sound, and it makes it sound really good. There's bands out there right now that are doing that. Lamb of God released 2 albums recently. Their last album's phenomenal. Like that, what is it? Clock Tower or something, whatever. That song is, they did it in both. They used analog first, they did it, and I think they did it in digital, and then they just kept playing over and over until they got it perfect. Analog, right over it. And they were able to do it. They did it like, they had a computer in there, but they were saying that they used, if you watch the documentary, I think it's on there, there's a documentary about it, you can see where they had that going, that they were doing it like the way they've always done it. And they got triggers and all that stuff, and they just do it very manually, very DAW-less, which is really cool. I might make something now in a little bit. Yeah, that's another thing. What's really hurting y'all, and I'm sorry to say it, but what's hurting a lot of y'all, is you're letting these services like BandLab, Bandcamp, override your shit. Like, that's not your world, bro. It's not your whole world. You shouldn't even put all your ducks in there, per se, you know what I mean? First off, BandLab is a very lucrative thing. In the very beginning, it was very pioneer. No one really knew if that was going to work. It was interesting because, you could collaborate in a way that wasn't, I wouldn't say that it wasn't possible. It was just much more easier and convenient, and it really just became a fucking bad thing because everyone just started carrying around the phone, and I did too. I thought I was a real genius because I was making tracks on the phone, and then I listen to them now and I'm like, oh my god. And I was sharing these tracks with people that I liked out, and I was just embarrassing myself with them, and I didn't even know I was embarrassing myself. because they were like, "Oh yeah, sounds good," and I'm pretty sure it sounded like garbage because it was Melissa. She came over and she was like trying to show me the music. I was excited because I was trying to show her what I did with my Box Destiny song and kind of created my own thing out of it. And it sounded so bad. It was so bad. And I know it was bad because she looked right at me and said, "That shit sucks." And she wasn't scared. So, but yeah, if you really want to find out, get a buddy, an honest buddy, go in your car and turn on your little BandLab track and look at his face. Honestly, it won't take but 10 seconds for that dude to be like, "No, that's not it." Partially the issue is that, BandLab is not exactly a DAW. It's not they say it's an audio workstation, I guess, technically, but it's not really. Like, everything's all pre-processed to 8 bits. The write rate on there is really bad. The latency is super bad. Like, I can hit a note and you hear it instantly here. But if I hit a note in BandLab, it's like, eh. You know what I mean? Like that delay, like, eh. And you're like, fuck, dude. Like, and everybody just thinks they use Bluetooth, and it's like, you'll be banging your head on the wall, like, "No, don't use Bluetooth. No, don't." And they do that. It's terrible. It sounds terrible. And so a lot of people make that mistake. And then, yeah, of course, I expect everybody to be a perfect engineer, but like, if you can't hear the song and all you're hearing is shatter and them walking around, maybe they went on a run and they're out of breath and they're trying to rap and all you hear is the whole fucking time, like, they don't understand these things. I tried to record people multiple times. I had a actually group that I was recording for a while, and I don't mean, I was learning, they were learning, and that's why I said it was free, because it was kind of my first time. And yeah, there was things I was telling them that I kind of was figuring out, and then one was the room, and the dog wouldn't stop, and then there was the noise of the dog outside, and their feet, and then he liked to chunk and hit the guitar, and it would just come up, even if it was electric, you hear ching, 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 or you hear clunk, 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 and he just didn't realize, and him not sitting still. So recording analog for those guys was the only way, because they had their own timing and they could not play they couldn't get into a groove of a metronome. So I could not get them the way that I want. I couldn't even get them to play in a 16 bar because it was like a 5/4 or a 6/4, and we couldn't figure out the time signature because it was so floaty. He's very indie, non-linear but linear, because he does have structure to his songs, because he will sing a chorus, he'll put a chorus in there, and things do make sense in that clip. He's a very good songwriter. It's just that he cannot play on a metronome. That's number one. If you're going in the studio, know your shit and play on a metronome, man. If you can't do those two things, sorry to tell you, you're not going to fucking get anywhere. You're gonna waste your money, and you're gonna waste your time. So, have that for real. That's a fact. Especially if you're working with me, I'm gonna tell you straight up. If you're not in time, and I mean, you could be just a little bit off time, that's fine. We can always stretch and move things, get things on time like that. But if you like, going 135 and then all of a sudden it's floating down to like 110 and then it's going, yeah, we can't mess with that. That shit, it becomes a fucking headache. It take you months, and then it all sound like shit. Analog kind of sucks because you just got to keep doing the take over and over and over and over and over and over and over, and it gets to your head. Back in the day, man, they used to do it like that. That's how it was. You had no choice. You fucked up. You fucked up. It was on that thing. But those people would practice their song. It was realistic too. A lot of people now make hundreds of songs because digital, and they got an undo button and all that, so they could just make hundreds of songs so quickly. Can you play those songs again? No. And so that's the problem. A lot of people need to realize that you need to be able to play that song again and again and again perfectly. Otherwise, it's not. You have no grip on it. You just be out there like a fucking wild bronco, and you're gonna fucking work out. The industry and the people are gonna. You don't want to go on stage and sing your song different from the recording, because everybody's gonna be singing the recording with what they know. And if you start singing something totally different, they're gonna stare at you and go, "What the fuck are we doing?" So that's why I said you gotta have those parts that come back again. The song's gotta be structured. It's gotta make sense. It can't be like fucking Phoebe off of fucking Friends. Sorry, it just doesn't work that way. Engineer, someone that's actually, trying to feel out the music. Things stick out. And when they do, you want to hope that they're good things, not bad things. Because as soon as you get two bad things, they're just going to tell you, come back again later. Or tell you, it's good, man. Keep going and pat you on the back. So you got to have it together, man. And I try to tell everybody that. It's the best way to put it. If you got a good song, and you think you got a good song, and you want it to go further, and you want to further produce it, guys like us are going to expect that you have your shit together. That you already have this. You can't just say, "Oh, I got a song," and it's an idea. No, you have to have it down. Like something down. It's an audio recording of you playing it, a video of you playing it, you doing it right in front of us. You gotta have it down. And then I would have to test you, play that chorus again like that again. Do just this part. Do just this part. And 1, 2, 3, don't, click, don't. You gotta be able to be on that. If you can't do that, you'll waste your money. You'll waste your time. Just simple as that. Like I said before. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed that live. I got to do a couple of things. I might come back up on later. I don't want to make racket or anything like that when everybody's trying to sleep in the house. So at about like 10 o'clock, maybe somewhere around there, I'll come back on and I'll do some music making. Maybe we'll make some hip hop tracks. You know what I mean? We'll do something. I like this patch I have. It sounds like modern shit. So anyone wants to sample that later, go for it. That's why I do that. At the end of my episodes, during my episodes, if you hear me playing keys, and I'm doing this, go back. Use your phone record of the screen and the sound, and capture those sounds, because you can always use them for your loops.